Good day, Heavenly Father, and just thank you for this greatest day that you've given us. Father, we ask that you just continue just to help us and just guide us and just give us the direction that we need to do. And Father, we just ask to just be of the county and just watch over them, especially the ones that are sick and ill. Father, we just ask that you just comfort them, just continue just to touch and heal their bodies. And Father, we're just so thankful for everything that you do for us. And Father, we just ask for your guidance. And Father, in all these things we ask of you, in your precious and holiest name, Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, we do need to add under new or old business under 11. We had a quote come in at the last minute for clerk court into the courtroom, so I'll present that to you.
We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? We have a motion to approve the minutes from the workshop and regular February 20, 2024 meeting and the special meeting March 8, 2024.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Mr. Stevens?
Good evening. As you know, I've been working diligently trying to figure out how to get us some ambulances. Since we've talked before, we do have one on order. It is in production. It's on the production line now. Hopefully, we'll be able to receive delivery of that around the first week of August. Since then, I've had 2 of the 4 trucks go down, so I'm running on 2 right now, or 2.5. One of them can be used in a have-to situation. So I've been trying to research and do some digging. I have found several vendors that are offering demo trucks, which basically they spec them out. They're pre-configured. There's nothing special about them. They're just turning them out as quickly as they possibly can. Negotiated an offer with Atlantic Emergency Solutions to be able to deliver us an ambulance the first week of July because it was an order that someone had canceled and they no longer wanted. I have also reached out to some of the other vendors about a custom build where we place the order, spec it out what we want. We're looking at, depending on the box vendor, anywhere from 22 to 49 months before it enters production, and then there's 120 days after that. So in talking with Atlantic, I've picked out a demo truck that I've placed on hold until tomorrow that meets all of the requirements that we need. I have negotiated the price down $10,000 from what they originally had estimated, and then if we make a deposit on the truck, they will give us a prepayment discount at delivery. I don't know what that will be. It will at least be 1% of the $330,000. So anytime we can not pay full price for anything, I think that's a win. So what I would like to do is go ahead and execute the contract with Atlantic Emergency Solutions for $330,000. We initially had budgeted for 2 ambulances 2 years ago when we ordered 2. We took half of that and paid for the remount truck that should be delivered. Still have the remainder in reserve. It's going to fall a little short, but the delivery won't be until the next budget. So as long as we budget for the shortfall, the difference, I think it's about $90,000, and that's just the difference in 2 years of what a new truck costs. So that's kind of where we stand. And then the 2 trucks that we have ordered through Northwestern, once we execute a contract, I would like permission to go ahead and withdraw those because we're 2 years in. The most definite answer I can get is maybe September or October of 2025. I don't feel like that they can provide us what we ordered in a timely manner, and I think that we can withdraw from that agreement. We don't have anything on the table, so it would be, we would have no loss by withdrawing from that contract. So that's, kind of where we're at. I feel like that if we don't, we're going to be in a pretty bad shape, especially if I have to wait 4 more years. If we order one in July and we have to wait 4 more years for it, what kind of shape how are we going to get folks to the hospital?
Well, you think about 4 years in these mountains, and it's already worn out.
That's the general life expectancy of one of our trucks is 4 years on the front line, and then it goes to a spare for a couple of years. So I have everything together and ready to do it. I just need the board's approval.
I don't have any questions.
Anybody have any vote?
And we're not going to have any penalties or anything by pulling out the contract?
No,
Okay.
no, sir.
I'll make the motion to go ahead and proceed with the process, and you're going to take and roll over the remaining into the next budget, correct?
Yes.
We need to make a motion for that, to roll the additional funds over into next year's budget.
You can do it in with the same motion on this one, but I'll need another motion in just a minute to give permission to cancel the other 2.
Okay.
I'll second Lynn's motion to go ahead with your
All in favor?
recommendation.
Any opposed? We have a motion to cancel the contract with Northwestern.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Looks like you can proceed.
Thank you.
Chair.
So I am going to, I mentioned earlier, I'm going to apologize in advance. I've had sinus issues in my ears. I feel like I'm underwater. So if you have questions, I may have to come closer or you're going to have to yell because the acoustics are hard to get here. Anyway, my name is Shelley Foreman. I am the Community Relations Regional Director for VIA Health. As you know, VIA Health is a public agency that manages both state and Medicaid funds for people with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities. As of July 1st, we will be going live and becoming what is called a tailored plan, which means that on that date, we will also begin managing physical and pharmacy health care for all of our plan members. Before I start, I always like to recognize the contributions of folks in your county that are on your board, and want to recognize Commissioner Orr and Commissioner Cody. They're both on our regional advisory board, which is made up of the 7 westernmost counties. And Commissioner Orr is the vice chair of that board, and therefore is also a member of our VIA, the larger board that oversees the 33 county area. So we appreciate your long history and contribution, and we go back many, many years in working with when we used to be Smoky and now we're VIA. But anyway, I am here tonight, and I think this is probably the 3rd time that we have talked about this. It's called the Child and Family Medicaid Specialty Waiver. And so for many years, since we have managed Medicaid since 2012, VIA Health and other public agencies like us across the state have been managing the care for children and families in your child welfare system. And we have done that for a very long time, and for the last several years, VIA, along with you as our counties, have really asked the Department of Health and Human Services to maintain that regional system of care. Unfortunately, well, or fortunately now, we're going to go with it. Over the last several years, the department was able to present this to the General Assembly, and the General Assembly adopted in their last budget cycle the ability for the state to move forward for a request for proposals for a single statewide vendor that will manage Medicaid services for children and families both in the foster care system and many of those in their in-home program, which is the step before they get to foster care. So VIA decided that based on our long history and commitment, and because the General Assembly specifically allows LME MCOs to apply, as well as the 4 statewide standard plans that do primary care, as well as mild to moderate mental health and substance use services. And then there's one other regional plan outside of our region. So we're the entities that can apply. And so what we did, we began working with our sister LME MCO, Partners Behavioral Health, and together we developed a memorandum of agreement to apply for this application. So VIA is looking to apply to become that single vendor to work with all the DSSs in the state of North Carolina. And it would be specific to that population, as well as we would continue to do what we do now in our original counties, because we have such a commitment to working with DSSs and our other public agencies. And so what I'm here asking for tonight is a letter of support to go with this application. So what is going to be different? I think we don't have a crystal ball. I can tell you one of the things that we have been pleased to see after many years of having statewide systemic issues, this last legislative session, the state did appoint a statewide study commission, and that group is made up of social services, LME, MCOs like VIA, agencies like Benchmarks that are sort of experts in child behavioral health, as well as others, to really begin looking at what are the challenges within this system and how do we address those so that we're not constantly dealing with the things that we do now. The second thing that happened, which, and Jay, you've been around for 100 years, like I have, or almost 25 years, is after probably 15 years or more, the state raised their Medicaid rates for behavioral health. And this has been a long time coming. Now, what does that mean? I mean, it's not like the be-all, end-all, but what it means is that our providers, both in community-based care as well as residential services, will now at least have higher rates to be able to deliver those services. And then the final thing they've done is with this RFA, there's also been an additional amount of funding through the General Assembly to help whoever gets this application to be able to be more effective.
I know we all get on guard when we say and hear higher rates, but when we're talking about higher rates for Medicaid, we had many providers who would not participate as a provider because of the very low Medicaid rates that were being paid. So it honestly will be a plus in getting providers to help our most needy population.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to, I mean, people are in business to survive, and I think it will be a really great benefit. So those are some of the things at the state level where I think there's recognition of some of the challenges. So why VIA? I will say that as you go through that application, many of the requirements are things we and partners are currently doing. We have what is called embedded care management, and we don't do that from afar. We don't have someone in Asheville that calls or comes over to your DSS. They're available in your Graham County DSS. They work with the social workers for both adult and children's services. They do not only placement, helping with kids' placements, referral of services to adults, but they also do consultation for cases that really aren't in our health plan. So that's something we've been doing for many years now and will continue to do. One of the other things we're doing that's a requirement for a very long time, we have worked with an agency called Youth Villages, and they do what are called single point assessments. They are in your Graham County DSS office as requested. They actually have scheduling slots available to them where if a child needs to have an assessment, Youth Villages can do that assessment for them, get it back. They can talk to the social workers and families. The families don't have to go anywhere else. They're there on site. Some of the other things I think that we have done is in the last several years, and sort of seeing that this was going to possibly be a possibility, is both FIA worked with other LME MCOs as well as our DSS agencies and other partners on the North Carolina Child and Family Improvement Initiative. And through that initiative, we have developed like single statewide processes so that anyone across the state has a referral process for how their kids and families get into care. We have single statewide contracts. So right now, VIA currently has statewide contracts with providers that would be delivering these services, and we've been working on that for a very long time. We have a very good number of contracts with our community-based providers. So we have done many things to streamline the process for our DSSs and try to make it easier for them, looking at how can we be effective across the state and not just in smaller areas. Some of the other things we've done is through a project with Benchmarks is we've worked with DSS as well as therapeutic foster care agencies, and we just finished the initial phase of a recruitment campaign called Adventure Awaits, which is a campaign that both DSS and therapeutic foster agencies could utilize. It was a big social media campaign where we used existing foster families to do videos to help recruit foster families so that in Graham County we can have more foster families in Graham County and in the region. We've done a lot of training activities and just a whole variety of things to help be more responsive to our DSSs. We have a public board that oversees our agency. We have a public regional board that oversees our agency. We have folks like myself. We have embedded care managers who are here, boots on the ground, and responsive to the needs of the community. I don't think the system is perfect, but I do know we've had a 50-year commitment to Graham County. And in 2012, when we began managing Medicaid, that commitment really grew as the population of folks being served grew. So I would love to ask for your support by doing a letter of support to include. I will say in the 7 western counties, we've of course had great support and we appreciate that, and you've supported us in the past. So I'll stop there because I know you have a long agenda and many people who have other things.
Just one more thing. Your connection and any work with the school system right now?
Pardon?
With the school system?
Yeah, we actually developed, and this is outside of the child welfare system, but
Yes.
they do sometimes intersect. We worked, it's been almost a year and a half, because we sort of got it kicked off at the end of the school year in the summer. We have a contract with an agency, a provider agency named Heights, who is working in the school system, doing a program. It's called Outpatient Plus, which it means you have a therapist and a peer worker who can work with kids, teachers, parents around skill building and be available to support. You have a really great core team of behavioral health professionals in Graham County, but it's an additional resource to meet needs that they can't necessarily meet, and then refer out to other services as needed. And some of those kids may or may not be in the child welfare system.
I do want to leave that out because we certainly have our kids in our schools
Yeah.
as a top priority here.
And we heard the need, and we shifted from one program to another, and it's going well. And Heights is a great organization. So that, I don't know if you have any other questions. Or if Connie, if you, or excuse me, Commissioner Orr, you or Commissioner Kay, you have anything you'd like to add?
Or Jerry? Anything?
No.
So I guess we need a motion for that letter.
Yeah, I think it's on down the line too. You can,
Oh, yeah, and in your packet, that you have, I included sort of an overview of our relationship with partners and some of the key things, as well as a template, just a draft letter of support, which you can edit freely or use as you need. I hate to ask for something and not provide. It's hard to write a letter of support without a little bit of help. So you did have that template in your packet.
is this the same one the secretary covered?
Yeah.
Yes, I have it prepared for you for your reading.
I would like to make a motion that we continue to support Life and the work that they do in our area. And if anyone needs any contact information, anyone in this audience or anyone that's possibly watching online, we have that available for you as well. And certainly any need that you know of that we might not be aware of, that DSS might not be aware of. Some families are hesitant to contact one or the other entity, so we'd like you to know at VIVA that we're open to any kind of discussion or request of need that you might have.
And that's part of my role in the community, is having someone, and we do have a 1-800 number that people can call 24 hours, 7 days a week, and we can connect them with any service or support they need in real time, or address a crisis, or answer questions even.
We have a second on this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you so very much. And we will hopefully, August 1st is the day they said they will be answering or giving a decision, and that's my birthday, so maybe I'll have a birthday present. Thank you.
Feel better, Shelley.
Thank you so much.
Next is project manager report, Mr. Marino.
All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. Good afternoon, everybody. You should have a report on your table. I'll start going off the project from the top. First item is the Justice Center. Obviously, I know the Commissioners are diligently working on site location, so there's really no change with that one. Number 2 is Senior Center kitchen expansion. So after the second bid attempt on the senior center kitchen expansion, we only got the one bid. So with that in mind, we had to submit, because it is grant funded, all our documentation to include the advertisement and affidavits of the Grand Star and other newspapers that we use to advertise in to the state in order to get what's called the sole source procurement approval. We're still waiting for that sole source approval. I anticipate this week hearing back. As a matter of fact, we had a couple emails earlier between yesterday and today that we're hoping to have an answer solidified by the end of the week, and we should be able to award that unless it's a negative response. We don't anticipate that because we didn't do our due diligence in advertising and all the bid requirements per statute. It just took a little bit of time to get all the documentation, including the affidavits, together, including the hard copies they required. We sent them all electronically, but they wanted the hard copies too. So that was a little bit of a delay getting it to them, but they have them now, and hopefully we'll have that awarded this week and move forward with that grant as well. I put together a slide to kind of show where we're at with the two CDBG, the other CDBG grants. Now, keep in mind those are two grants. The senior center is the coronavirus grant, separate, and then the one we're doing with the homes are neighborhood revitalization. Put together a little slide to kind of give the board and the public a little visual of where we're at. And sometimes it's also important, some people may not understand what the whole CDBG grant is about. I'll do a little bit of an introduction into that. We'll go over the 708 Mountain Creek, 297 Cottontail. We'll end with a little brief summary and then open it up if there's any questions. So the CDBG program overview, for those that may not know, the primary objective of the program is to develop viable urban communities by providing decent housing and a suitable living environment and expanding economic opportunity, principally for persons of low and moderate income. That is part of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. Graham County currently has 2 CDBG NR reconstruction homes approved and under contract being built located at 708 Mountain Creek and 297 Cottontail Lane. So 708 Mountain Creek, as you can see, this is the demolition phase. We did a really good job once we were able to get on the site with equipment. They were able to get the site down, the home down, and get the site cleared relatively quickly, as you can see. Debris on the left, and then a cleared site ready to start layout on the right. If I move through these too fast, by all means, please tell me to slow down. Obviously, after that, on the left shows the layout of the new home, and then on the right, the footers are going in. And obviously, with all that we do, even as contractors throughout have to use inspections, obviously, ours has to be inspected as well. So if that question were to come up, everything is run through the county inspection department before we do any of the trades. It gets approval. Another slide with the foundation. These are all previous. Obviously, this is in the past, so we're moving pretty good on those. The left shows the footers complete. The right, that shows the actual crawl space block foundation complete. And then the last slide on 708, the left shows the floor framing starting, and we're currently on the right. This is actually a few days, probably about 2 days old. Was over there today. There's quite a few, all the exterior walls are actually up, and the interior walls are going in. That's currently where we stand, is they are framing the walls up. So we're moving really pretty good on 708 Mountain Creek. The next is 297 Cottontail Lane. Started a little bit later on this project. It was the only one that had asbestos. As you can see from the left is the picture of as it was existing. On the right shows where there were 2 locations on that building that had asbestos. The caulking and sealant around the windows, and then some roofing pitch material and boots on the roof. So what they do, because you're not supposed to obviously work in the asbestos, to save from having to work to try to put a gear on and try to get every little piece of the caulk, they just come in and cut the windows out, wrap them up, and take them with them. And so that was a little bit of a delay, was getting what we had tested positive for asbestos containing materials abated before we could do the demo and have that removed from site and controlled per statute to a location that is approved to take that material. And I think this is the last on 297 Cottontail. Demolition complete, and movement on the left, and then removal of material on the right. It was actually out there today, and currently they have the batter boards up, laying it out, and we'll be digging footers, and we're looking at potentially maybe placing footer concrete on Monday for 297 Cottontail. Oh, wow. That's great. So we're making some progress on the 2 homes that have been approved. Little summary for both projects. 708 Mountain Creek began in February 2024. It's showing about 22, as you can see, 22% complete. Estimated time for completion is August 2024. 297 Cottontail, we began that, and it's probably a little bit more closer to the 1st of April, but about the last week of March, we were able to start moving things out of the facility. And I think most of the demo was completed early April. To some last week, we were moving a lot of material out of there. So about 10% complete, and it's got the same estimated completion August 2024 timeframe. to utilize all that grant money left over for the neighborhood revitalization. That's basically it for 3 and 4. If there's any questions, I'd like to answer. All right. I will move on. Item 5 is the high school. There'll be 2 projects, obviously, on the high school football stadium. The first one is the permanent seating, item number 5. I've been in communication with LS3P, who is the architect, design architect engineer of record. And they had to get, we provided what we had initially for a survey that Aaron had done for us, but there was some incomplete data and they needed to bring their people back out. So we were able to get ahead of that. They completed that, I think, around April the 1st, the week of April the 1st. And that was the most needed information to be able to start getting some samples and some ideas that they're going to be starting to present to the school and obviously the commissioners as well too. They started the design, and it looked like, from what Scott, as we all know Scott from LS3P, he's going to be providing some information, hopefully next week, on some initial preliminary design for the school. Once they get some ideas of the direction the school wants to go in, we'll start having regular progress meetings. I'll be able to also probably provide that as well in slides to where we show what design they're going for and the percentage of completion for the design as we go forward with that project. They're about 8% complete with finally getting the survey that they had. That was item 5. 6 is the rental seating. The good news is that with that is we did sign a contract with Southeastern Seating, who was the previous supplier vendor of the seating that we had before. And got an email back from them, I think it was about a week and a half ago. Everything's still on schedule to be done that week of May 20th so that they can have the seating in by the graduation on May 25th. I've been given no reason to see that they won't meet that goal. Obviously, the seating, once it's put in, by that date, it will stay in through the season. And in the original agreement, and this is not to hopefully dash any hopes, the intention, working with the school and our engineer, is for the school is to be ready to have a project started with the permanent seating by the end of football season in December, where we can hopefully have everything done and ready for football season next year, 2025. But we did, just in case, trying to be proactive in front of it, we asked the vendor to, hey, is there an escalation fee? Is there a potential so we don't have to pay to have them brought back? If we have problems with bidding or contracts, can we leave the seating in place if we need it a little longer? And they were willing to work with us on that. That's just a sort of a fail-safe in case we have some issues with bidding, and who knows, with ordering material, that could be a problem as well too. So that's good news with that, and obviously we'll continue to report going forward. Item 7 is we're working with a consulting firm on remediation of a potential asbestos in the lead-based paint containing materials there in the jail. In order for us to provide, I'm trying my best to get the commissioners a number. You want to know numbers of what it's going to cost for design, and to be able for that design architectural team to go out to bids, and then what roughly is that project going to cost. In order to get a better comprehensive number for the commissioners, is we need to make sure we're testing for asbestos. We don't want to go in there and have anybody working in the facility and not know what that report contains. So they completed their survey today. I'm expecting to have results, at least verbal results, by Thursday, and then we'll get a report probably next week, a week later, and present that to the commissioners. And hopefully from that report, knowing we already know what lead we're up against, if there's anything asbestos, we'll be able to have a better idea of cost and duration for a complete scope of work. And the commissioners can have an idea of what to make a decision from there. So we're moving forward on that as well too. We'll try to get that information to you as soon as we can. Item 8 and 9, really no change. Item 10, project that will be coming up probably hopefully real soon and added to the, not in the project development list. It's the EMS-based asphalt paving. We did get a $100,000 grant for the paving. I worked with DOT and got roughly an idea of around 250 is what we, 250,000. And it could be upwards between 250 and 300 to hire, obviously, a design architectural team to do the design of how we want to fix all the paving. And the intent is to do the access road because there's a lot of cracked, alligator-looking paving that starts the access road and goes all the way around the front of the facility, right next to the LZ, which is an important area. So with that 100 grand, and I'm going to also work with DOT, they give a one-time 25K grant that I'm going to apply for, and then we'll be looking at other aspects. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and get a design going because we have the grant money to work with while we try to apply. So I'm in the process of going out and advertising for an A&E firm to work with us so we can start that process and be in front of it. We probably have until October of 25 on this grant money. So I'm trying to get ahead of that to get a design and maybe a bid out in place, and we'll be ready to roll as soon as we can with getting that pavement done. Important to get that project out as soon as we can. So I'll be working that at the same time while I'm working on these other things, try to get an engineer on board with us to go from there. That's pretty much the conclusion of my report for tonight. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take those. If not, that's all I have.
Can I go speak comment?
Thank you, Jason.
If there are no questions on the project manager report, next we have the financial report.
All right. So you have a newly formatted finance report in front of you. This is more of an abbreviated version. It's going to get to the point without all the historical data. We can always provide the historical data if needed. But just at this time, all of my resources are being put into completing the audit and just the different reports that were mandatory for this time period. And we have had the excuse me, the 911 report was due to ECDIT, the Medicaid cost report was due for DSS, the Medicaid cost report was also due for the Public Health Department, and the Medicaid cost report was due for the ambulance services. So a lot of, they're kind of all like little mini audits that you are going through for each department, so there's been a lot of work going into all of those. So trying to focus my time on those, but primarily the 22-23 audit. So that's where my focus has been. But just to make sure that you guys still have the information, in our unrestricted funds account, and this is for the period ending March 31st, in our United Community Bank operating fund, there's $5,586,642.19. And the North Carolina Capital Management Trust operating account, we have $1,748,263.08 for a combined total of $7.3 million in our unrestricted fund balances. I've got the previous year, the same time period, and just the variance there listed for you records as well. In our restricted funds, I did add the National Opioid Settlement Fund on there. That has been ramping up. We have been getting quite a few of those deposits coming in, and so I'll start reporting on that for you guys. To date, we have $375,139.32. You have approved the resolution for expenditures, but I believe it was only for the $187,000. So before we spend anything over that resolution, they'll bring an additional expenditure resolution for those funds. We do have the economic development account that is the golden leaf account that is designated. So that is $134,627.97. Then we have the Dogwood Health Trust account, which is to be part of the CDBG supplement plan. That account balance is $500,112.74. I will need to do a transfer back into that account due to the records that we found for that house sale from the CDBG account where someone paid off that house. So I'll be making that transfer back into that account. Then our North Carolina Capital Management Trust Capital Projects account balance is $3,391,016.47. Then the North Carolina Capital Management Trust School Capital Projects account is at $123,400.46. And then the North Carolina Capital Management Trust Skiff Courthouse account balance is $4,993,225.49. And as far as income, this is per what is booked in our accounting system. Today, we're catching up on all of the reconciliations. Our operating account, as far as income is concerned, is $1,891,831.34 this month. I've got year-to-date and then prior year balances to the left, or to the right of that, I apologize, just for your reference. Then if you move down, the expenditures, again, this is what's in our books. It's not been reconciled to the bank statements. All of them have not been caught up today. For our operating account is $2,304,163.14. Again, you've got year-to-date and then the prior year numbers there. Tax collections, this comes from our real loss report that's provided by the tax collector's office. Current year collections, for this month alone, they collected $147,962.79. And then prior year collections this month were $10,249.42. And then you've got year-to-date amounts, and it looks like it cut that off, and prior year is on that last column. I apologize, I left off a header. And then as far as our DMV and DTS collections, we have just now, well, actually this is from March. So from March, we received the $62,696.64. I've got year-to-date and prior end-of-year numbers listed there as well. Our sales tax collections, this number reflects what was actually, it's January sales tax, but we just received it in March. So it comes in 2 months later. So looking at that, for the month of March, what we actually brought in was $261,119.50. I've got the year-to-date and the prior end-of-year numbers as well, just for reference. The quarter-cent sales tax collection, this is the part that we put aside. Again, this is January's numbers that are received in March. And this month alone, we received $22,732.10. And then our collection since inception of us setting that money aside is the $1.2 million. And then just some activities that we're working on, obviously is the audit work. I do have weekly meetings with NCACC, with one of their finance professionals on their team, and then I do work weekly as well with the LGC coach, and we report weekly to the auditors as well, just to make sure that we're all on the same page and working through the checklist as we can, and then still working on grant requisitions for payment. We have several that are outstanding. The USDA, one that was for the Little Snowbird project, we're waiting on money back from them. And then CDBG-NR, that is kind of recurring since there's a lot of construction going on. We do submit at least twice a month to them for requisitions for payment to get reimbursed. Those are reimbursable. And so we do request those every 2 weeks. And they are pretty prompt in paying those. So, and then we are working on new budget stuff. So Kim's taking the lead on that, and we're just getting some spreadsheets out to the different departments as requested, and then working on notebooks and trying to get those things moving forward. So I know Kim has it on her list to set up some meetings for us to start meeting with them. And then too, I just wanted to update you, I forgot to put this on the report. This was the sales tax set aside that we do for the schools. So to date, for this fiscal year, it's been $508,844.15. But then as far as like debts and projects, that has come to a total of $658,219.55. So that's just to keep track of it as per our resolution that we made with them. I do have several amendments that I need to bring to your attention. I've got amendment number 19. I know we have discussed this one a couple of times, but I think there's been some miscommunication. This is the court's contingency. The money would come from the court's contingency and it would go into the jail medical supplies. And I had already presented that data to you guys, and I do have that again today if you need it. That it was the $21,445.87, and that would just help the jail in completing out this fiscal year with their medical supplies budget.
Is that dollar amount again?
$21,445.87. And that's Amendment 19. And then there's also Amendment number 20. This is actually new revenue that has come in. This is the 121 ARPA TSF Public Health Services. And this is a $50,000 grant that the health department is receiving, and it will be applied towards their general health and contracted services. But I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this was a 3-year type grant, that they will get 3 years, that was $50,000. So this is added revenue, and the expenditures will be offset out of the contracted services in the general health. That's Amendment number 20, and that's $50,000.
Is there any kind of county match to that?
And then I have Amendment number 21. Again, this is new revenue. The senior center has been working towards being able to get a vehicle for their Meals on Wheels program. And they were awarded $13,000 from Highlands and Cashiers towards this project. We have already received that money. And then they're also going to be able to use some of their ARPA nutrition funds to go towards this project to finish the purchase of the vehicle. So they have gotten 3 quotes. Unfortunately, the lowest quote, I want to make sure I find my notes here. So if they went with the low bidder, it would be about 6 months before they could get the vehicle. But if they went with, I believe it was the mid-range bid, they went with the mid-range bid, it actually had more, I guess, bells and whistles, more options on the vehicles, and they would be able to get it instantaneously. The dealership has it on the lot and is holding it just based on approval. So the vehicle that they're looking at is a 2024 Ford Escape, and it is, the total price is $34,278.39. $34,278.39.
What was the low bid?
The low bid was the $31,380.60.
But it had how long was the wait?
4 to 6 months. And there will be no county funds that will have to be matched for this. So the request from the senior center would be that if they could go ahead and purchase the vehicle, they have the $13,000 already in hand. For the total, the difference would have to be fronted by the county, but then it's reimbursable. So once we've made the purchase, then we would prove to them that we've got the $13,000, and it's reimbursable through that ARPA Nutrition Funds grant that they get, the senior center. So the request is that we would front that money and allow them to be able to apply for the reimbursement through the ARPA Nutrition Funds. And this is to allow them to expand their services and add additional clients to the Meals on Wheels program and lessen the load for the already established route. And this will give them, be able to allow their drivers to spend a little bit one-on-one time with their homebound clients instead of just dumping their mails off and running to the next location. So they just felt like this would be, they're at max capacity and there's more homebound seniors who need our services. So this will allow them to expand their services. Are there any other questions about that? Okay. And then amendment number 22, you have already been polled on this. This is the new revenue that is coming in from Mr. Stevens's HSGP grants for the mobile sonar units. This is new revenue that is coming in the amount of $71,000, and it will be spent out of his emergency management grant expenditures. But we just need to amend the budget to reflect that grant. Those are the 4 amendments that I needed to get approval for tonight.
You need to do no 21 individually. I would do 19, 20, and 22 together.
We have a motion to approve budget amendment 19, 20, and 21. Or 19, 20, and 22, sorry. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We have a motion to approve. A motion to approve budget amendment 21.
Let's do the purchase first.
Okay. Okay. For the purchase of the 2024 Ford Escape for $34,278.99.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Do you have a question?
We have to approve the vehicles
Yeah, they went through Southwest Commission, the,
Justification
yeah,
process that they have, it's like a six.
they have to get approved. Yeah. Sarah Jane, they said they had to go through on the quotes.
Do we have a motion second?
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, now we need a motion to approve the amendment, budget amendment number 21.
I'll make a motion to approve amendment number 21, with 13,000 coming from the Highlands Group. And then, filling the rest of the money from the ARPA nutrition funding.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Do you have anything else for comments? So next is public comment.
Mr. Bill Flanagan.
Mr. Flanagan?
Well, y'all made the right call on the dumpster site on 28. It's a manned site. It is clean as a pin. And women aren't scared to go there. And I think it's the greatest thing since ice cream. And I appreciate it. I think everybody in Tuskegee and daggone Socoa appreciates it. And I just want to thank y'all. And another thing I want to bring up is the Tuskegee Motel. It is ugly, it's hazardous. The car clubs and the motorcycles use it for a restroom. There's no doors or windows on it. The hikers from the Appalachia Trail, when the weather's fine, they go in there. Transit go in there. I've seen a couple of rats there. Somebody in the county needs to do something about the Tuskegee Motel. And I appreciate if y'all look into it. And that's about all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. You know,
Yes. Iron Horse, I believe, but I'll make sure. Yeah.
That's probably on, I'm pretty sure. Next, we have discussion items. We have releases of $255. $425.20. We have a motion to approve those. Do we have a second? All in favor? We need a motion to approve the Colton 4-3. Melissa Anderson.
Melissa.
Adam as the interim director of DSS.
Second.
All in favor? And then, need a motion to approve the free ticketing fee for Lakes and Heatland cleanup for May 4th.
Second.
All in favor? And we need a motion to approve generator maintenance proposal for 911 funds.
Okay, this is paid for by the 911 funds. Their first part is like 60,000. I just received this too, and we have to have approval for it tonight. $65,598 for the actual system pricing software, and then the other annual preventative maintenance agreement is $5,366.05. So I'll need both of them in the motion.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
And this is part of that fund that we just shored up, and these are allowable calls. She's already checked with NCBIT to verify those.
And we need we need a motion to approve the emergency protocol dispatch software.
That's the one, yeah.
That's the one, that's it that we just done. And then, the motion for agreement with Southwestern for EDC services.
Did we need to have a little more conversation on that agreement with Southwest Commission on our EDC services?
If everybody's familiar with it, I'm fine with it. And I'll be getting with Josh either later this week or early next week.
Okay.
Everybody want to
They-
table it for discussion?
We contract our grants through them, so it's time for us to renew the agreement. So if that's something you're okay with, we can do that tonight.
They charge by the hour. It's not a flat rate, 50 or 60 or $100,000. We pay by the hour that they spend working for Graham County.
And there's a cap on it, and no more than $15.84 per month.
Yes.
Yes. A cap for no more than,
Yeah, it says the local government will pay the council a fee of no more than $1,584 per month plus expenses.
okay. That's quite a difference in what we were doing, so it's certainly a benefit to Graham County, and I'll make the motion that we renew the contract.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Is that currently budgeted?
We need a motion, for beaver management, $50,000.
So I miss Raymond Williams right here. This was the big kick we used to get out of it. So they always ask us if we want to participate in the beaver management, I guess it's removal. And they charge $6,000 a year. If that's something you want to participate in or not, I just need a motion either way.
I make a motion to decline that invitation.
All in favor of declining that? Okay, and we already handled the order for Secretary Tinsley. So we need to schedule budgeting, so you want to do that now?
We can, if you'll be thinking like 1 week that you have, preferably if you want to do it the last week of this month, which goes into the 1st of April. If you want to do it the second week in May, whichever way you want to do it, just let me know, and I need to schedule it. I have to let the paper know where we're going to be and everything. My plan is to bring the department heads in. It's going to go rather quickly because they have it together. You'll be seeing 3 years worth with the request. If there's a little bit of difference in the request, then y'all will be able to address it right then, and the department head can answer for it. So check your calendars maybe for the second. That's DSS would be the only thing I think that we would have on that second week. We just don't want to let it get too close to the end. Yes,
I can
okay.
do the second one next week.
Okay. You want it? Sound pretty good then, second week in May?
I keep me doing that Tuesday.
Okay, we'll just,
Because I've got, those I've got to submit that day. And I'll be at,
okay,
that's where our scheduled meeting.
we'll do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? All right.
What are those days?
Would that be the 13th? Or do you want to do 13th, 15th, 16th, and 17th? What time would you like to meet? 10?
What can you do?
That day's on things, got me tired.
10 o'clock? Okay, I'll get it scheduled.
And then we need to discuss the Bear Creek dumpster site and the unit.
Yeah, I received another call from Diener, and they were specifically asking me about the Bear Creek dumpster site, where are we manning it at this time, or what was our plans going forward. So I said that has to be a board action. I will bring it up if y'all are ready for me to go that direction, or if you want to hold, I just have to have something to be able to tell them that we're still in the process, is what I have told me.
Okay. I was going to ask again, have we made any progress on inviting community representatives to meet with the board, share ideas, and look at what is the best fit for that particular, and I know the dumpsters on 28 look wonderful. The dumpster down on Lions Creek, I've taken pictures of them. It looks good at East Buffalo. Actually, the Buffalo dumpsters have not been bad, and I have pictures of them. They haven't been bad. But I, once again, would like public input from the communities that these dumpsters facilitate their ability to drop off their garbage there. I want to hear from the people that they serve and help us make decisions on what is the best action that we can take for them. I had a couple of interviews with people out of Bear Creek, and some of their thoughts were manning that site 2, 3, 4 days a week, and maybe rotating with another dump site that is not as busy as the one on 28. We know that was an extremely busy drop-off, but the citizens that I spoke with in that area would be happy with rotating some days a week with appropriate hours that would give the people get in the morning and get out after work in the evening. So I would still really like to see that set up. If anybody wants to see the pictures, good luck. I don't never have this thing.
I'd like to ask you to set a public meeting then, one afternoon, so we can have, I need to have enough notice to run it in the paper a couple of weeks,
Right.
and then get it out over over my Facebook, and then have it on the web. And it needs to be after 5 o'clock.
Invite a representative, 2 or 3 from each community.
All the general public.
I think it's just spokespersons is what I'm talking about.
What date's good for y'all?
I'm flexible except for those who previously talked about.
Me too.
So falls on you guys.
How much money have we saved? In other words, I know, we've already saved, and this is full-side, keeping, clean, keeping people out of that, digging in the trash. But also second more thought, because it had reduced our call already, just put water on it. It's an asset to the county, because we don't have to pull up the old mine. And stuff further out on the ramp. And I know it's at times it's inconvenient, because I know I've already been approached about, we're going to expand some hours in the summertime, because a lot of times people, are doing things later now because of the time
We could discuss varied hours depending on what the general public's schedule.
They kind of asked, you know, we were going to maybe look at that, and I said, well, that may be something that we'll talk about.
What you got?
What day's good, what's the better day?
On the date or a day?
A day, because you're gonna be here for budget that week of May, the week of May 12th. You want to stay late, that's one of those days.
Do we have any of them in the afternoon?
We can extend it to the afternoon.
That sounds like,
That'd be fine.
that'd be
Which
good.
day? Monday,
What about
Tuesday,
on Thursday?
Monday,
Well,
Wednesday,
it'll
on
be
Thursday,
Wednesday
Thursday.
Because that's the church night.
Okay. It's gonna be the 16th. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, and we need a motion to reappoint Brian Johnson of S. Satterfield to the RDA board.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Ms. Thompson, still active?
Ed,
Well, is Talkman still active?
he is still active, yes.
Okay.
He and Ed both are.
Okay.
Keith, yes, sir.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we have an invitation to Five Point Community Kitchen for May 11th, or May 9th at 11 a.m. Anybody that wants to attend that?
They want to RSVP on that one, so if you'll let me know before. You don't have to tonight, but you can let me know.
Okay. And then we have an invitation to the Great on May 16th at 11 a.m. and David Mike at RSVP.
And that will be at the Stickwell Valley Center.
And that will include lunch too.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Now we've got newer old business, so we've got, quote for the purpose of work.
Okay, so as you know, we're doing everything in our power to keep court here in our county. So we, the desk situation, they're trying to make it easier for the defendants and the plaintiffs, and then over there, a little bit more protection for Tammy and her girls. And they have found the furniture. It will have all the wiring inside of it. They asked to wire to come up in the floor, and I said no. And you may, change my mind, but I felt like we didn't need to start drilling in our 2 feet concrete floors until we start renovations one day. So we can do it on the walls, and we can slide it through the floor and make it work. Yeah, and save a little bit of money as well. But the desk system is like $15,607. She does have all but $3,000 in her courts facility fund, so we can take that. And then we do have the $3,000 in 410. So we can make that work if you're okay with us purchasing that desk.
I'm fine with that.
I'll just
We
need a
certainly
motion.
want to keep the court cases here.
We like to and transporting
We'll be
them.
paying out a lot more than this to move them out of this county. So I'll make the motion that we approve that request.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Do we have any other newer old business? And we have closed, so we need a motion to go into closed session under GS 143, 318, 1356, privilege or confidential information, attorney-client privilege, personal contracts, with a 10-minute break.
3-hour break.
3-hour break, okay.
All in favor?
Need a good nap, I guess.
Keith's good.